Hey Titans, thank you for joining us for the first Drop the Mic, formerly known as Speak Your Truth. A little bit about our guest poet today. Her poetry has gone viral several times, has been acknowledged by Grammy-winning artists, and is the best poetry to ever be featured on our mom's fridge. And if you close your ears, she's funny too. Welcome, Kyla Jenée Lacey.
Hi, I was drinking water and there's like no cute way to drink water on camera, so I turned my camera off to drink water. How are you, Carissa?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm hanging in there. I'm hanging in there. How is California?
It is okay. Weather's kind of in and out. Sometimes it's warm, sometimes it's cold, but
It is warm-ish here. It's in the 60s.
yeah, that's our
So,
cold.
yeah, I mean, I grew up in Florida. I grew up in Central Florida. So, and I've lived in Atlanta for 6.5 years now. So this is yeah, this is warm for Atlanta, but I miss Florida very much. My mother said it's 85 degrees right now at her house. So,
Fun.
so, but we're here. We're all here. And as much as I would rather be in California right now, we're still sharing this space. So,
And we are so happy to have you.
why, thank you. I guess this is where I start.
Yeah, I think
Is-
you can
oh,
start whenever.
okay. So, I am Kyla Jenée Lacey. I am a poet and I'm my mom's favorite daughter, at least, because I'm her only daughter. And I've done colleges. I've done like performed at over 250 colleges. So, because in the interest of time, we only have half an hour, so I'm going to just get right into the poems. So, about this is 2015. In 2015, I had long, relaxed hair, and it was like here was, but anyway, it was chemically straightened, and I wanted to get rid of the chemical relaxer in my hair. But in order to do that, I had to cut off all of my hair. And so I looked like a sexy tennis ball minus the sexy part. So yeah, it was a time. It was a time. So from there, I ended up like I was like learning my new hair texture and like seeing what my hair looked like. I hadn't seen it in a long, long, long time. And so I decided to write like I was like, oh my God, inch, like when I could use a bobby pin, it was like very serious. It was very serious. So I decided to write a poem about my hair. And this is my favorite Black girl magic trick. Real quick, let me see. Wait, okay, because it's pent up, but you can kind of see it's a Black girl magic trick that it's much longer than it appears. So anyway, okay. My curls are kinky. They love to get wet. They love hot oil dripped all over them. They are gymnasts. They're capable of backflips and front twists. My curls have personality. They will flirt with your boyfriend, but they don't really like them like that because see, my curls used to be shy and they had to lie in middle school just to feel accepted. And I curse today if they were ever made to feel that they weren't beautiful enough because my curls are untouchable. So don't even try them. Don't go near them if uninvited because their homegirls Coco and Shay will fight you if necessary because see, my curls are feminists. They don't play that shit. They sophisticated ratchet. They woke up like this. Okay. They woke up a little more like Frederick Douglass, but that's okay because they don't claim that mess because see, my curls are obnoxious. They violate dress codes. They like their baby hair with baby hair and afros. They're diverse. They listen to J. Cole and Fiona Apple. But please know that my curls are unapologetically Black. They're activists. They're not pretty for Black curls. They're not team dark or light skin. They don't care about colorism. They acknowledge that there were a couple of continents involved in their evolution, but they don't claim that mess. They're not hashtag team mixed chicks. My curls aren't racist. They have blonde friends. They don't need Allure magazine or Vogue to tell them how to be, but trust my curls are into fashion. They love silk scarves and cute little hats. They hate Kim Kardashian because she will try to appropriate their fullness and balance and body and curves and say she was born with it naturally. Curl swerve. My curls love built-in pillow talk. They stay on my mind, and yours too. They got you wrapped around their fingers. They're a little bit conceited. My curls have been heartbroken before, but had to learn how to get over him, so they co-wash that man right out of them. They may put up a front, but in reality, my curls are soft, even when they're rough around the edges. My curls think for themselves. My curls are water and grease and brush black girl blue magic. My curls aren't going natural. They are going back. Thank you. Okay, let's move on. I'm gonna do, because it's Black History Month, I'm going to do some Black History poems. Yeah, so yeah. There's a poem that I want to do, but I might have to read it, and I don't know how professional that is. So we're just gonna do some other ones just in case. So I grew up in Seminole County, Florida, which is a suburb county of Orlando. And Seminole County, Florida is a very affluent-ish place in Florida. It's one of the more affluent counties that's not coastal in Florida. And there are a lot of like nature preserves and reserves, whatever. But there are a lot of natural parks. And one of the big controversies in Seminole County, Florida was hunting season and the protection of the black bear species in Seminole County. And just to like, my mother goes walking around this lake in the neighborhood all the time, and she has to take a large stick because there's sometimes like black bears. So they're very prevalent. So that was like a thing about, whether they should allow hunting. Another big controversy about Seminole County, Florida was Trayvon Martin's murder. It happened in Sanford, Florida, and Sanford is the capital. And so I grew up 20 minutes away from where Trayvon Martin was murdered. And what was interesting was, looking back out of context, it seems very ridiculous out of context that Trayvon Martin was responsible for his murder. But at the time, it was very, very controversial whether or not he was wrong and he contributed to his death. And like I said, looking back, obviously we know, a lot of people are moving towards realizing that this is endemic. But at the time, it was really, really split down the middle. And so I wrote a status on Facebook years ago about how Black boys aren't protected in Seminole County, but black bears are. And so this poem came out of that years later. They hunt black bodies for sport, gold trophies, call them badges. Got to go into the neighborhoods, got to go into the natural habitats, got to go where the animals are at, got to snatch them back from Africa, paid vacation, go on safari, call it administrative leave. It's important to take a break after a big kill. Take a picture with it, frame it, front page coverage, set up a GoFundMe to ship the body back to the States because getting away with a big kill can sometimes be expensive. Heads secure with ropes, heads hung over fireplaces, heads hung over from broken spine. Where is PETA when you need them? Some were worrying more about fur than coonskin. Some were worrying more about poached eggs than poached people. Stay away from their daughters. You know they got it out for African game. You know they will hunt you. Got to take down the pride. Too many lying around. Whoever kills an animal should make it good. Leviticus 24:21. Won't God be happy they're being such good Christians? Where is National Geographic? Some were snapping pictures of a noble savage feeding her cub, fattening him for slaughter. Her daughter doesn't go for as much on the black market, doesn't get as much media attention as killing a buck, doesn't cost as much as an NRA membership does. Everybody loves a good gun club. Everybody wants to get the next big kill, cock guns and cock rifles. You know, they always gonna get off. You know, they always gonna go back to work. You know, they always gonna return to the concrete jungle. Because you know what they say, if you do what you love, then you'll never work a day in your wild life. Thank you. Let's see here. Is it, Krista, is it like super, no, I'm not going to read it. I'm just going to do another poem. So okay, so I also, like I said, growing up in Seminole County, a lot of the big issues that I had growing up was that a lot of my teachers didn't like the fact that their smartest student was, or their brightest student was their darkest student. And so there was a lot of missing opportunities and watching mediocrity win. And so when you talk about something as controversial as white privilege, what people don't understand is that white privilege isn't necessarily that your life is easy because you are white. It means that your whiteness does not contribute to your life being hard. Your whiteness is not the reason that you may be dealing with stuff. You know, your education may be the reason, your income level that you were born in may be the reason, but your whiteness does not directly contribute to your quality of life being less than. And so a lot of people don't understand that, and they don't understand the concept of race. And when we talk about race, what people don't understand is everybody wants to be privileged until it's time to say that they are privileged. Everybody wants privilege. If people did not want privilege, then luxury things would not be, there would be no marketplace for luxury. First class tickets wouldn't exist. There wouldn't be a VIP section. So to say that people don't want privilege, or to say that there isn't a market for privilege and privilege does not change how we are treated is an absolute lie. And it is intellectually dishonest to say that. So a lot of times, also, when I performed this poem and when it went viral, a lot of people were, very angry with me personally. And, I mean, making a racist upset is not the worst thing that's happened to me. But what people, they took it very personally. You're like, talking about racism doesn't make me a racist, just like talking about misogyny doesn't make me a misogynist. So a lot of people conflate the fact that when I speak on oppression, that feels oppressive to them. So I'm going to get to the poem. We learned your French. We learned your English, we learned your Spanish, we learned your Dutch, your Portuguese, your German. You learned our nothing. You called us stupid. That's white privilege. And I'm sure it probably hurts you to hear those two words, kind of like gunshots and explosions from those commissioned to protect you, whisking past your ears. What is white privilege? It is the only 5 decades of legal acknowledgement expected to correct 400 years of white transgression. It's crack versus cocaine. Blacks receiving almost 20% longer sentences for the same exact offenses, like, for instance, a white man without a record is less likely to get a job. The black man without a record is less likely to get a job than a white felon. Well, maybe it's because we're lazy and we don't work hard enough. Like, what the fuck? 400 years in the same field literally is an incredible resume builder. It is Katrina answering the government's prayers of eugenics, Dick Cheney going fishing the next day, Condoleezza on a shopping spree, Bush in San Diego. But Kanye is the one you call crazy because, like, it only took the USA 2 days to get aid to Asia, but 5 for FEMA to get to Canal Street and Esplanade. It is the one black kid who beat the shit out of the odds, but only thanks to Sandra Bullock, Michelle Pfeiffer, and the White Shadow. So now we all can make it. It is the only time thousands of white people are cheering for the black kid to win is in a stadium. It is you looking at me crazy if I told you to go back to Europe, even though we didn't have a say and your great grandparents came here voluntarily. It is you all of a sudden having a problem with immigration. Like, this isn't even your nation. How the hell do you discover some shit that wasn't even missing to begin with? You Columbus our traditions. Had white girls twerking in high definition with multicolored hair and purple nails, but it was ghetto when we did it. Oh, am I making you uncomfortable? Try a cram slave ship. Or wait, slavery is over now. It's just called the prison system because, like, you're not racist because you don't use the N word, but y'all use niggas every day. What is white privilege? It is the acceptance of bombs over Baghdad, but not over Boston. It is European history being taught as a major and African as an elective. It is learning about my people only 28 days. Like, I'm not Black every single second as every white boy. Wanted to screw my brains out, not because I'm pretty, but because I'm pretty for a Black girl. Is people thinking that Africa is one nation. It is the waving of the Confederate flag like you didn't lose the battle and then telling us to get over slavery. It's people saying that Black people destroy neighborhoods, but forgetting that white people have destroyed continents. It is every time I bring up my plight, some white man has to tell me that I'm crazy, but is kind enough to praise my English or say that we're all given the same opportunities, even though he has a family history of wealth. And I don't even know my family history at all. It is the justification of police brutality. Like, what did that person do? Well, I'm sure it doesn't hurt as much when the victim doesn't look like you. It is people thinking that affirmative action is an unfair advantage instead of keeping the qualified from being unfairly disadvantaged, or throwing out a qualified applicant because their name sounded too African American. It is Newports imported into Black communities, but Black boys exported for weed. It is big plastic asses that are called fat when we naturally have them. It is an Australian woman who's a classic of rap music. It's everyone who hears this poem dismisses all this truth I just spit as reverse racism. That is white privilege. Thank you. So, in the interest of doing this poem, I was like trying to figure out if I was going to do this poem. And I don't know it because it's new, not because I'm unprofessional, but I felt like it was a really good poem to do. And let me go back really quick. So before I do this poem, one of the things that I found in, talking about race and performing and, doing a lot of things that were specifically about the Black experience. One of the things I also noticed, not just with me, but with other Black people, whenever we speak up about certain issues, there is this immediacy to silence us using the words of MLK. And it's really so diminutive and rude and disrespectful, right? Like, MLK wouldn't have wanted this. Well, we would like to ask him what he thinks, but he's kind of indisposed at the moment. And as recently as a couple of days ago, like this past week, somebody had found the white privilege poem on YouTube, and it's posted. And every once in a while, I'll get a racist who's, very angry and upset. And I remember one of them, somebody who's like came into my, they send me like the funniest messages. And I think the best one was, have fun with your vibrator. And I was like, oh my God, I feel so seen. Racism might actually end. But a more recent one was somebody was like, MLK wouldn't have wanted this. And I was like, I wrote a poem about that very, very, like about a month or two ago. So this is the poem that I wrote about that. And I actually did a recording of this that is on my Instagram. It's Kyla Jenée Lacey, but this was a poem that I know, but I don't really know. And I just didn't, so I'd prefer to read it to you instead of just stumbling through it, because that's way more unprofessional. And poets read, because, that's how we got here. There's something about the way white people gentrify Martin Luther King's speeches by pretending to be moved by them, then try to move out people who live on streets named after him. Or the way they regurgitate his words to spit back at the very people they were spoken for. It's funny how Martin Luther King is now spoken for, how white people always tell you what he would condemn, like he didn't condemn white people speaking for Black people in the first place. Or how they so easily forget the reason he has nothing more to say. There's something about the way his dreams get misinterpreted, get taken out of context, how his fear of integrating his people into a burning building came to fruition, how his grit gets needlessly forgiven, how they didn't listen to all of his words. Like when he said that riots are the language of the unheard, rioting and looting always get lauded in history books and coded in forgiveness when it's white kids upset about sporting events. There's something about the way a nation forgets that its founding fathers didn't really find anything, but don't remember how their fathers found him detestable and author revisionist history books that have gotten myopia written all over them, that have gotten bad words like slave erased by white guilt and replaced with Black assistants. Crazy how Black assistants and servants wanting to serve their own interests unsettled a country built on independence. There's something about the way he gets remembered and forgotten in the same sentence, like somehow MLK soothed their spirits, like his 30 arrests were just misunderstandings, like his wiretaps were just miscommunications, like the calls to his wife were just congratulations, like bullets to his chest were just a mark of martyrdom. Respectability politics still leaves blood on business suits, still leaves them trying to whitewash his blood off their hands and off their history, or the way they forget that the bridges he marched on and the crosses gifted to him were burning. Long weekends always make you forget, and holidays always turn sins holy. There's something about the way the government always forgot to celebrate his birthday in January or any other month or year or decade of his life, or how they try to put revolutions in a box after they put revolutionaries in a box. Sending a misquote in his image to attempt to silence protesters feels like shipping a mangled body back home over enemy lines, or feels like a gentrifier giving you a tour of your own neighborhood. Something, or feels like fire hoses that still drown people after they've been shut off. There's something about the way they use his name to silence the fire in your breath. There's something about the way white people ask you to be just like someone who was shot to death. Thank you. And we're back. Okay, so we have 10 minutes. Okay, so I'm going to do, I don't think, so I recently wrote a poem about the insurrection. If I don't have it readily available, it is on my Instagram. So I'm just going to skip over that. And I'm going to do a feminist poem. Why not? Why not? Next month is Women's History Month. And this poem is, it's from a very sad place. So I was on Facebook one day and this guy, I'm sorry, I get very emotional when I talk about it. This guy was talking about how he was hit on by another man and it really hurt him. And I was like, oh my God, I don't know what it's like to be hit on by somebody that you're not attracted to and it makes you uncomfortable. Like, right? Like, we don't know what that's like. And so I was like, wait a minute. It did happen to me one time. It was a Tuesday. And I remember there were steps that I was supposed to take to make sure that I wasn't attractive. And so I was like, wait a minute. I remember those steps. And this is the poem that came out of it. To the straight man who complained about being hit on by another man, I feel it is my duty to give you a few pointers that will keep you safe from unwanted advances and increase your chances of keeping your dignity and underwear intact. Number 1. Don't show too much leg. No matter how hot it is outside, no matter how uncomfortable you are, unwitted advances are far more irritating than chafed legs. For it is better have something on your skin than have somebody try to get underneath it. I think that's like a Bible quote or something. Number 2. Don't wear tight-fitting clothes. You know how you all love to wear those man-titty, tempting, tiny-ass workout shirts. Don't do that, even if you are working, especially if you're working out. Men might stare at you while you're doing something so arbitrary as trying to stay healthy. They may even come up to you while you're listening to your headphones, or even worse, follow you around the gym or to your car or to your house. Number 3, don't smile even when they tell you to, and trust they will tell you to. Even when instructed by a complete stranger to alter your mood to make them feel more comfortable, don't. It just invites unwanted advances. And exposed teeth can often be misread as yes, I do the oral. Number 4, don't make any jokes. For any sign of having a sense of humor can be confused with I want to have sex now. It's a slippery slope. Slippery from the KY. Was that a joke? Oh no. Number 5. Don't take pride in your appearance because a coiffed mane or an updo always screams yes. Undo this hair while you do me. 5A. don't, under any circumstances, grow an afro, because afros are slutty and they love to be touched all over by people they don't even know. Number 6, don't drink. And I don't just mean alcoholic beverages, but something as simple as water. Can find something slipped into it for somebody to slip into you. It is best to match their thirst with yours. Number 7, don't have an opinion. Don't be too right or too smart or have a personality too big, because even though they may be taller than you, they will still attempt to bring you down to size. I think that's what they call flirting. Number 8, don't go to sleep, and especially not around men who may find you attractive, because when men go to sleep around their friends, they wake up to penises drawn on their faces, while women wake up to penises drawn on their faces. Number 9, don't tell him no thank you, that you're not interested when he asks for your phone number, because he might do something silly like, I don't know, shoot you in the face. Instead, tell him you have a boyfriend. Yes, I know you're straight. I got that. But no matter how firm or polite, a lot of men won't take no for an answer. They will, however, be more likely to respect the boundaries that another man has established. So basically, don't go out there walking and talking, breathing and thinking and singing, drinking and dancing, prancing and downer blitzing and celebrating Christmas and having wishes and having dreams and waking up and wanting to be, and you should be just fine. Mostly. Thank you. So speaking of women's, right? Because it was a feminist poem. Thanks, Naomi. I appreciate you up in the corner. Thanks, Carissa. Appreciate you guys. So speaking of women's, I am a Black woman. I'm going to end our segment with this poem, and this is probably my favorite poem. One of my favorites is up there. So I don't know how to describe it. I'm just going to get into the poem, but I'm going to get some water first, because there is, I mean, I'm doing poems here, so. No cute way to drink water on camera, but here we are. I have friends that are women. I even have women in my family. Shit, my mom's a woman. Some of them I have sex with, some of them I love. So how can I be a race? I mean, sexist. I mean, walking around with their asses out, fancy shoes, suggestive outfits. How can I not think they all are thugs? I mean, walking around with their asses out, fancy shoes, suggestive outfits. How can all of them be deserving of my respect and love? I mean, I respect and love my daughter. Shit, she's half Black. So how can I be a race? I mean, she's half of me. So how can I be a sexist? I just won't have her walking around like the women I take advantage of, the women I like to fuck, the ones who dress like they sell drugs. I mean, the thugs. I mean, what do you mean my racism is like sexism? I'm not even sexist. I love my Black queens. Just not all of y'all are queens, and I get to choose which ones I love and which ones I abuse, even though I ain't shit. I mean, I love Black people. I just hate niggers. He wanted it. Standing there asking me to mind his business. He should have just showed me his ID. I mean, she wanted it. Standing there asking me to give her the business. Forget her age. I don't need her ID. I mean, he committed a crime. He shouldn't have been Black. He shouldn't have talked back. So of course he deserved to be shot at. I mean, she shouldn't have been drinking. So it wasn't really rape. She didn't respond to my advances. So of course she deserved to be shot at. I mean, how is it police brutality when you commit a crime? His body is not his. So if it's lying in the street, I mean, how is it rape when you're already mine? Her body is not hers. So if it's lying in the street, I mean, Black people are lazy and just not as smart. They need our direction. I mean, women are weak and just not as smart. They need our direction. I mean, Black bodies were only built for hard work. I mean, women's bodies were only built for childbirth. I mean, nah, boy. I mean, big female. I mean, I don't understand why I can't call you guys that when you call each other that. I mean, I don't understand why I can't call you that when it's a scientific fact. I mean, Black people have nothing to offer, but I still love their culture and the ones that I can have sex with. I mean, women, gays have nothing to offer the Black community, but I still love lesbians, the ones that I can have sex with. I mean, prison overseer, I mean, polygamist. I mean, there's only one race, the human race. So all lives matter. I mean, you were Black first. So concentrate on that. I mean, stop blaming the white community for your mistakes. There's nothing holding you all back. Look at Oprah. I mean, stop blaming Black men for your mistakes. There's nothing holding you all back. Look at Oprah. I mean, white women are just more attractive. I mean, light-skinned women are just more attractive. I mean, you're a reverse racist. Every single time something doesn't go your way, you all want to pull the race card. I mean, you must hate men. Every single time something doesn't go your way, you all want to pull the rape card. I mean, Daniel Holtzclaw could have raped all those women. I mean, Bill Cosby couldn't have raped all of those women. I mean, being a Black woman is like standing in the middle of an intersection where racism and sexism collide. Boom. Thank you, Cal State Fullerton. My social medias are Kyla, Kyla J Lacey for my Instagram. My tweeters, Kyla_Lacey, and my Facebook, Kyla Jenée Lacey. I know that's a lot. Renee with a J is the best way to, it's all E's, Jenee, and Kyla, Kyla. I always say it's like Kyle instead of an E, a vagina on the end, and people seem to figure out how to spell it from there. So thank you so much.
Hey Titans, thank you so much for joining us for this Drop the Mic in honor of Black History Month. I hope you enjoyed Kyla's set as much as I did. Be sure to join us on YouTube for our next event, which will be a Titan Talk with special guest Ashley Sheridan on March 2nd at 6 p.m. on YouTube. Thank you so much for coming and happy Black History Month.
Thank you, Willa.